Sup, my well-read ballers? This week we getting our romance on with Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. Alright, let me get this craziness out of the way. This book is written by Miguel de Cervantes, who's about to get straight metafictional on our asses. See, according to the story in the book, the tale of Don Quixote is narrated by an editor who compiled real different histories of Don Quixote. Basically, Cervantes stacking narrative layers like Jay-Z stacking Benjamins. The story go like this. In an unnamed village up in La Mancha, Alonso Quijano pushing 50 and got a whole lot of free time on his hands. But instead of trying to throw game at honeys like most brothers, Quijano spent all his time reading books about chivalry, which is the code knights used to live and die by. Except Quijano don't just dabble, he gets straight obsessed, literally reading all day and all night. Fool reads so much that his brain dries out and loses his damn mind. Eventually, he decided to do just like the boys in his books and become a knight errant, riding out of the hood, righting all the world's wrongs. So homeboy strap up with some janky armor and hops on his crusty ass horse, ready to hit the road. Dude like, yo horse, your name is now Rocinante. That's way tighter. And as for me, I'm gonna be known all throughout the land as Don Quixote de la Mancha. Hell yeah. But hold up, first thing every knight needs is a fine honey dip to devote his righteous deeds to. DQ picks who he think be the baddest chick in his hood, Aldonza Lorenzo. And since he giving out names like candy, he gives her a new one too, Dulcinea del Toboso. Woo! And just so you know, Don ain't ever actually said a word to this girl. Then all of a sudden, Don realized he's still missing something. What is it? Oh yeah, he ain't a real knight. Oops. So DQ roll up on an inn, cause in his whacked out dome, he thinking it's a castle. He hits up the lord of the castle, AKA the innkeeper, to knight him. The innkeeper don't know what the hell is going on, but he obliged a brother anyway. So now that he got a woman, a ride, and some chrome, Don Quixote turning heads wherever he go. Except just a little while later, he gets his ass handed to him by a bunch of salesmen and gotta go back home like a scrub. While he in bed resting up, his housekeeper, a priest, and some other homies start blazing all his chivalry books, hoping he won't do stupid shit like that no more. But the Don ain't backing down. He hit up a local fat-ass peasant named Sancho Panza and be like, say, bruh, if you cruel with me and be my squire, I'll give you your own damn kingdom. Cause you just know I'm gonna be rolling in loot soon. So Don Quixote gets up on his horse, Sancho gets up on his ass, and they hit the road. Eventually, they reach a windmill farm, and Don Quixote starts charging them suckers, yelling his ass off thinking they giants. Nice, man. Real nice. Don Quixote and Sancho Panza keep cruising, getting all kinds of crazy adventures, and receive some of the nastiest ass whoopings of their life. Eventually, DQ and Sancho head back home again. Back at the crib, they start conversating with an uppity college grad named Samson Carrasco. Carrasco like, oh, Don Quixote, I read about you, man. You famous. In fact, Carrasco's so geeked that he decided he's gonna try to cure Don Quixote and save his ass from all this chivalry bullshit. So in the meantime, Sancho and the Don can get back to doing their thing, cause Carrasco about to spark up a plan. Don Quixote and Sancho gear up for one last ride and make a third sally out of town. This time around, DQ and Sancho get tricked and trolled at every turn, especially by some punk-ass Duke and Duchess. And maybe the worst trick of all is done by that boy Carrasco. To get the Don to come home, dude dressed himself up and called himself the Knight of Mirrors, but just got smacked up by Quixote in round one. But now, Carrasco on top of his game and decide he's gonna send Quixote's old ass packing once and for all. He straps up again, calls himself the Knight of the White Moon, and tricks Don Quixote into going back home and hanging up his lance. Feeling like a real piece of shit, Don Quixote hits the hay, and after days of sickness, he starts calling himself Alonso Quijano again. He stopped giving a damn about chivalry, says the whole thing was bunk, and eventually dies a quiet death in bed. R.I.P. Quijano. If you ain't already know, this jam is one of the most famous novels of all time, and it ain't just your boy Sparky who's saying that. Scholars all up on his book's nuts. Some say it's the first great novel of world literature. others say it's the first modern work of literature ever written. No matter how you spit it, this book got some major street cred. But is street cred actually the same thing as value or virtue? If we're anything like the characters who always dogging on books about chivalry, the answer is a big hell no. After all, we see what getting on that romance grind 24/7 do to Quixote's mind. Turn it to mush. The priests and Carrascos of the world will say that he should have been reading books with a moral, not trash that's just for shits and giggles. To these dudes, art preaching anything else is just harmful and destructive. Cervantes wasn't the first intellectual hustler jiving about how dangerous art can be. A long-ass time ago, old-school homie Plato was going on about the same thing. According to his character Socrates in the Republic, the ideal city knows it gotta keep that crazy shit on lockdown. If we want the guardians of our city to think it's shameful to be easily provoked into hating one another, we mustn't allow any stories about gods warring, fighting, or plotting against one another. The young can't distinguish what is allegorical from what isn't, and the opinions they absorb at that age are hard to erase and apt to become unalterable. For these reasons, then, we should probably take the utmost care to ensure that the first stories they hear about virtue are the best ones for them to hear. People, especially the little ones, are just too monkey see, monkey do. So they should only watch movies, listen to music, and hit up plays that's gonna teach them a good lesson. Ugh. You guys have fun in that Republic. Sparky gonna set up shop somewhere else. On top of the Don's books not teaching him a damn thing, another reason his homies always hating on these novels is because they talking about stuff like it's the truth, when on the real, it ain't even happened. Which brings me to one of the top themes of this big-ass book, deception. Matter of fact, a Trill critic named Lionel Trillin, see what I did there? Made the notorious claim that all prose fiction is a throwback to the main theme of Don Quixote, appearance and reality. First off, Don Quixote clearly got problems telling what's real and what ain't. I mean, that shit with the windmills is pretty cray, am I right? Secondly, brother getting trolled all throughout this book. Sancho always messing with his head to get out of doing stuff he don't wanna. The Duke and the Duchess fooled them both, and Samson Carrasco tricks that boy twice. Don Q even say that deception like that is one of the things he rebelling against. Blessed the time and blessed the centuries, called by the ancients the Golden Age. In that time, women spoke their thoughts of love from the soul, simply and pretentiously, exactly as they thought them, not searching for elaborate verbal circumlocutions to beautify them. Truth and simplicity were unmixed with fraud, deceit, and malice. But is deception all bad? Is truth the only way to roll? Nah, baby. All my well-read ballers should know by now, ain't nothing wholly good or wholly bad. Life may have some pretty amazing stuff in it, like the Thug Notes book, but as Don Quixote say, it got some real whack stuff in it too. Like this novel repeatedly spitting, one of the roughest things people tussle with is the fact that no matter how you play the game of life, it all gonna end. And even if you think you got the game sold up, everything you know and love can change like that. Sancho actually does get a brief shot at governing his kingdom, but realizes it ain't his thing. After he chunks deuces, dude seriously falls in a pit the next day. Oh, what unexpected things are always happening over and over to those who live in this miserable world. Who could have predicted that a man who yesterday saw himself the enthroned governor of an island, giving orders to servants and subordinates, would find himself today buried in a pit with absolutely no one to help him? No servant, no subordinate to come to his aid. And that's why we need Don Quixote. Even if all them stories of ballin' knights fighting the good fight are a bunch of bullshit, we still need them, cause only by believing these lies does Don Quixote bring to the world the stuff it's really lacking. I'm talking dank shit, like integrity, loyalty, justice, and persistence in the face of defeat. That's why it sucks so bad to see him step off the grind at the end of the book. If I could say something to Cervantes about this book's ending, it'll probably sound a lot like what Don Antonio Moreno say to Samson Carrasco after Sammy C kicks Don's ass once and for all. May God forgive you for the damage you've done to the whole rest of the world in trying to cure the wittiest lunatic ever seen. Don't you see, my dear sir, that whatever utility there might be in curing him, it could never match the pleasure he gives with his madness. Now, as far as this thug's concerned, it ain't really Don Quixote that dies at the end, it's just Alonso Cayano. Don Quixote gonna keep riding on, player, in here and in here. So screw the haters. Get out there and make the world a better place, y'all. And I want to tell y'all about another channel out there that's making the world a better place. It's called The School of Life. Take a few minutes and check out that channel by clicking here. The School of Life explores super important topics like philosophy, psychology, sex, spirituality, and now literature. They've got a badass library of smart, easy to understand videos, and you should definitely subscribe while you're over there. I think you'll love their channel as much as we do. All right, Sparky Sweets out. Peace. In celebration of the new school year and the publication of the Thug Notes book, we're launching a free contest and giving away a bunch of Thug Notes merch. If you want to learn more, go to wisecrack.co/back-to-school. And best of luck, all my well-read ballers.